Hey, a lot of parents ask me, what do you do about behavior charts for older children? How do you use the Better Behavior Chart program for the older kids, the preteens, the teenagers, the young adults? That's a really excellent question. And the principles and the tools that are included here, the themes are still applicable for the older child or maybe even for your husband. He might need these as well. But they don't want to be treated like children and have a superhero chart or a boys basic chart or a Star Wars chart or a jungle chart. So what they want is, and what they need is a behavior contract. So I've included a form here that will allow you to use the same ideas and principles that are come from applied behavioral science as well as positive psychology to help you be more effective with the older children. Sometimes that's even a bigger dilemma because of the oppositional defiant nature of children in that age. One of the developmental things about being an older child is that you want to be independent, which means usually for them, I don't want to be you, mom and dad. So you can use a behavior chart, a behavior contract, because that is how the real world operates, right? We have a contractual obligation or requirements or agreements where I provide you a service and you provide me a payment in return. And in the home, we want our older child to learn how to use teamwork and cooperation and be responsible by basically you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And this is the leverage that we're going to employ to get older children to become more fun, responsible people and get them prepared for adulthood. So the behavior contract is done very generically. And you notice on here that you have two dates. And these two dates are basically going to be a start date and an end date. So when I start the date, I will put it here. When I finish the contract, I'll add a second date showing how long it took. And that could be a week, a month, could be longer, really depending on what the contract is all about. Now, in order to utilize the scientific principles of positive psychology and the differential reinforcement of other behaviors or incompatible behaviors, is that you want to focus on a core value. So you're still going to have that core value chart that I included here and come up with what are some of the core values of your family. And let's say the core value is honesty. So, and you have a child who has been lying about where they've been. They have not been where they said they were going to be after school, or they didn't come home when they were supposed to, or they lied about taking something from the house that was not theirs, money or other people's property. So whatever the issue might be, you're going to write in here the core value is honesty. Because once again, you're not going to be honing in on the bad behavior. You're going to be honing in on the thing that you want to see different, what the core issue is. So there is still going to be a big juicy problem that might be lying or cheating or oppositional behavior or whatever might be coming up for them. They will still have that issue, but the core value will be what the opposite of that is going to be. Then down below, you'll have the expectations of both the parents and the child. Now you notice I included the child because another key component to the Better Behavior Chart program is that the child takes ownership for their own behavior. That's key, especially as a child gets older. So in this section here, we're going to put down what the expectations of the parents are and then what the expectations of the child is. So it may be the parents will provide the child with transportation to the mall, or will provide the child with an allowance at the end of the week, or will, and whatever the child's wanting. That's the leverage pieces. So whatever the child's wanting, you put that in here. Here's the reward. And then the child will do what? Now, I put it in a will, language of will versus will not or will stop doing or some negative frame. I don't want that. We want to be able to say what the child will do. The child will engage in honest behavior. The child will explain accurately to the parents where he is and where he is going and when he will return. So describe this in the most positive languages possible. Say what you want, not what you don't want. Now, in the behavior charts, we had a place to put a star, a sticker, a check mark, but we're not using that here because this is a contract, not a chart. So I put instead a notice section. what you're going to do is you're going to leverage this power of the differential reinforcement of other behavior by noticing whenever the child is engaging in the core value, which would be honesty or teamwork or respect or kindness, whatever that value is, you're going to want to notice that. You can just put little check marks there, little, what do you call them, little hashtags. You can put, and you can put 1, 2, 3, 4, as many as you're noticing. You can just say, hey, I noticed that you were kind to your sister. I know she was being really annoying to you, and I appreciate your kindness. Check. Hey, I noticed that you came home when you told Dad that you were going to be home, and I really appreciate that. Check. Hey, I noticed that you got all your homework done like you said you did, and you were honest about what grade you got. I really appreciate that. Check. And so you're going to be checking in these boxes all the times that you notice the positive behavior. Again, because it's differential reinforcement of other behavior, anytime the child is not engaging in the negative behavior or the big juicy problem, you're going to notice that because you want to reinforce those other incompatible behaviors. Finally, after you write in the date, you write down the core value, you put the expectations of what the parents will do and what the child will do, and then both of you sign it because it is a contract and you want to make an agreement that this is what we're both going to do, and then you start doing the noticing. You can determine, again, not when the child wants to be noticed, not when the child wants the contract to be finished or assumes that it's complete, when the parent says that it's going to be complete. So when the parent determines that this actually has been met, and I give it a reasonable amount of time, 1 week's probably too short. It really depends on the issue, I suppose, but I would probably go 2 weeks to a month at least. And then if the behavior seems to maintain itself after, you don't have to keep using the behavior chart, or behavior contract, excuse me. So I would go 2 weeks to a month and then put the end date, and then you would acknowledge that, hey, that was taken care of and we are engaging in more honest, kind, or generous behavior. So that's the behavior contract. If you have more questions about this or you need some examples or having difficulty writing the expectations, just use the Discuss section here for further support. Other parents can join in, or I'd be glad to jump in and offer some suggestions as well. Thanks very much, and I hope that this will help you with your older child or your husband.